we're going on 145 years now, Michigan football. This is Team 145 coming up, Team 145.
Exactly.
Do you know what teams you were on? What number teams you were on?
I believe I was on team 94 through 97.
You got it.
I have no recollection.
Right? We didn't really talk about that team number back then.
No, we didn't.
That's kind of a new development. But Ron, we have it right here. You were on teams 97 through 100.
Okay, I have to remember that.
So if
now.
anybody asks,
I remember now, man. But I had no idea before that. You know, and they used to mention it all the time on television. Team so-and-so. I said, I don't know what team I played. But now I know.
and let's talk about that a little bit in terms of how much were you aware. And Ron, you might have had an advantage on this when you were here over Jim because you were on a team during a season where 100 years of Michigan football was being celebrated.
Right.
I remember it because my brother was a freshman on that team.
Right.
How much were you aware of the history and the legacy that you were carrying on when you got here and when you were on the team?
Well, one of the reasons I came to Michigan was because of that history. Realizing the history of Michigan football. And I lived in Detroit, so I lived the Michigan-Ohio State game, the Ohio State-Michigan games, all those games all the time. Matter of fact, my freshman year when I was getting recruited, I was undecided on where I wanted to go to school. I was sitting in the stands, and Michigan had lost to Ohio State, and I was sitting there crying. I hadn't committed to a school yet, and after that, I kind of made my mind up. I think I was going to Michigan after that.
That's great. So you knew, you felt it,
I felt it.
And you knew it was part of you right away.
Yes, I did.
And you know what? When the game that he came to that we lost, I was a junior. It was my first year starting the whole season. I started both my junior season and my senior season and played the whole season. And that game he mentioned was in Ann Arbor, Archie Griffin's senior year. And all I can remember is that I got an interception in that game. I intercepted a ball on the 1 yard line on a deep pass they were throwing to their receiver. I can't remember his name, but he was a track guy. And Jack Harbaugh said, whatever you do, JB, don't let him get behind you. Don't let him get behind you. So I kind of made sure he didn't get behind me, but he probably should have told me, don't intercept the ball on the 1 yard line.
Drop it.
But drop it. But I intercepted it anyway because that was just instinct, Oski, I got an Oski. But that game, we were leading that game 14-7 with 7 minutes left in the game. And all I can remember is Ray Griffin, Archie Griffin's brother, got an interception, and in which they came down and scored to tie it up at 14. We had the ball back, and our offense sputtered. Our offense, I can't remember if they either fumbled or if we had to punt it away. So Ohio State had the ball back with one last drive and kind of got down to our end zone. Gave it to Pete Johnson, who was their fullback. Instead of giving it to Archie, they gave it to Pete Johnson, all 275 pounds of them. And probably 3 or 4 of us, Calvin O'Neill hit him first, Dwight Hicks hit him second, I hit him third, and I think somebody else came in and hit him again. But all 4 of us basically couldn't bring him down for 5 yards. The dude was a tank. And so they actually won the game on that play. So that senior year when Ron did come over is the year we got the revenge. We went to Columbus and won 22-0. That was a sweet revenge.
That's awesome. So let's talk about going forward after those days and when you finished here. Because we've talked about a couple of those moments that you had as players here and when you were kind of indoctrinated into the program. As you've carried it forward through the rest of your lives and being a Wolverine throughout life and in the community and with your former teammates, like how has that carried forward and what role has that played in your lives?
Well, for me personally, the relationships I had in Michigan have continued throughout the years. And some of my closest friends from Michigan are still some of my closest friends now. And that part of the Michigan legacy and being a Michigan man has really made me the person I am today. As far as adversity and those kind of things, you kind of remember back when things were hard, or you remember your teammates and that kind of thing, and it makes life a little easier. When you think about that, you can pull back from those kind of memories and move forward and progress.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing for me. I mean, the guys that I play with, I vacation with. Our kids know each other. I'm their kids' uncle. They're my kids' uncle. And we've had those kind of relationships, and they've continued for years. I mean, I'm celebrating 50-year reunions, 73 class, 74 class this year. And for 50 years, I've had those same guys that have been with me. You know, Max Richardson, James Pickens, Mike Smith, Ray Johnson. I'm probably leaving somebody out, but I'm not purposely doing it. But
You're just old.
I'm just old. But those guys I still do a lot of things with today, and I will see them at this upcoming reunion. Derek Howard, I got to mention Derek too, because he was our DB room. Max wasn't in our DB room, but he was a wide receiver that was just our good buddy that we hung out with and did a lot of stuff with. But all those guys still close today. You know, we talk about, you know, the Michigan bond, you know, and it is definitely something that lasts forever, I think. And the one thing that you know for sure is that, you know, you could always call up those guys and talk to those guys if you had some problems, some situations that you needed to discuss with somebody. No, we didn't call therapists. We didn't call, you know, shrinks. We called each other and worked through whatever it was, you know, with that group. So that's what it's meant to me, is just a lifelong relationship and lifelong friendships, friends and family.
So with that being said, you've had a chance today here at the Sharon Moore Golf Classic Champions Circle. You've had a chance to talk to some of the current players on the team now. Mm-hmm. What is your sense of kind of, it's a two-part question, what is your sense of kind of what you come away from having talked to those guys and kind of, you know, what you see in them as the games evolve and how they go about their business and the conversations you had with them today? And what would you impart to them? What kind of advice would you give to them now that they're in it, having been so far removed, looking back? What advice would you give to these guys?
Well, over the situation today was a chance to see the guys that I've seen on TV or seen in the stadium, seen from the stands and that kind of thing, to get a chance to meet them up close and personal. And make them understand what being a Michigan man was, to realize the connection that you have, being able to lean on the M and understanding that you can talk to people and the connections you can make as far as being a Michigan man and how it will continue on past your playing days. Because a lot of guys that came back today are guys that have been gone for, like you said, Jim, 50 years now. Yeah. We got guys that are still coming back and want to be a part of that and share that legacy of what it is to be a Michigan man.
Right, exactly. And you know what, on talking to these young guys, you know, especially these guys who are part of a national championship team, I was curious as to, you know, what they felt was the formula for them sticking together, for them enduring some tough games, injuries, all kinds of different challenges that they had during the season, and prevailing, you know, and prevailing all the way to the national championship game and completing the mission. That's the biggest part. I mean, we won Big Ten championships. I won 3 out of 4 years, but I never made it to the ultima of reaching the mountaintop and winning the national championship, which would have been great if we were able to do that. Different time frame, no playoffs, none of that. Basically, you got to win the national championship based on the AP and the other coaches polls. You know, that's how it was done back then. We played against Oklahoma in the 1976 Rose Bowl, and they beat us 14-6. They won the national championship because they were undefeated. We weren't undefeated, but we were pretty highly ranked still, even though we had an 8-2 record, 2-2 I think it was, or 8-1-2, and then that was the second loss we had against them. But we had 2 ties that year, and that you know, kind of put us in a bad position. But really, talking to these young guys, you know, I got the impression that they loved the coaching that they were getting. The coaching staff made a difference for them. They felt like they were prepared for every game. They had a sense of, hey, I got your back, you got my back, we're in this together. And you could sense that in talking to them, because that's how they were coached. And Coach Harbaugh did a great job of putting them in that position, and they finally completed the task. And I think that getting that done, you can repeat things. When you have success, you can repeat those things. You know, and can you repeat it to where you do it again? That's very tough to do. But as long as you follow those same guidelines, you're going to be there. You're going to be in the mix. And I think these guys will be in the mix with this new college playoff system, 12 teams. I think they'll be in the mix, and they're coming out of a very tough conference. So between us and the SEC, you know, you might have 6 teams out of those 2 conferences that play in that college playoff easily.
Yep.
So,
All right, well, hey, great stuff. Thank you both for sharing all your thoughts with everybody. Thank you for watching, those of you who are checking this out. Football Alumni of Michigan. Make sure you follow us online. And go blue, guys.
go blue.